Hmm.
Okie dokie.
The full VOD.
Maybe.
Okay.
It depends on how vulgar you get. I might have to go bleep, 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 bleep,
Bleep
bleep,
me
bleep.
out. No, I won't. I don't think I'll get too vulgar.
Okie dokie. Do you want to do the intro today
The intro. What do you mean intro?
to our topic?
Short topic. Okay. Hello, anybody who is out there watching, whether it be on the live stream or later on in Necroni's VOD. Welcome again to
Yeah.
Cryptid Conversations, a podcast where we talk about everything and anything.
Mm-hmm.
Today's topic is going to be wokeness in games. How far is too far?
Yep.
There's some people that believe wokeness should not be in games at all. There's people that believe wokeness should be in games. And then there's people like I would say like myself who believes that it can be in games, but there's got to be a limit depending on the game, in my opinion.
Okay. So, um, hmm. Do you want to talk about your take on it?
Yeah, so I'll start off with let's see. Well, first off, give me your definition of wokeness.
Wokeness. Okay.
It
Like,
doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be the exact definition. It could be your version, like
so
your
here's some
definition
like
of wokeness.
examples of wokeness. Um, okay. So one example would be the like the super feminist take on things. Like,
Okay.
oh, women don't need no man. Women are better than men. Man hating and all that kind of stuff. And then trying to portray women as like, okay, yeah, um, we don't need you. We can do anything you can do and even better, kind of stuff. That's one example. Another example would be, let's see, overly diverse characters in a game. For example, like having all kinds of members of a LGBTQ plus out of 10 people. All of them are of that. When it's
All of
supposed to
them. Okay.
be, let's take for example, like if you were in like a city of people and then the majority for some reason are LGBTQ, or like in the group that you're starting out with, the majority is LGBTQ.
Okay.
Realistically, that wouldn't be a thing just because they are technically a minority.
Okay.
So you would think like, yeah, there would be one here, there, maybe 3 out of 10, right? But for the
Right.
majority of the cast to be LGBTQ would be like a little much. Unless it was a game specifically like Baldur's Gate, for example, where
Okay.
it's to give the person playing that option of being able to romance whatever character. But if it isn't like one of those games where it has that romanceable element to it, um, I just think that's a little overkill. If I want to give an example specifically, I would say the Acolyte. If you know about it, that Star Wars take
Star
that,
Wars stuff.
yeah, that Star
Yeah,
Wars
the
showed.
acolyte. I'm gonna be real. It was not that good, and I'm not saying that's just because of what they had in it.
Yes,
It's that
poorly
the stuff they
written.
had in it just made it worse,
Yeah.
but not worse as in like I hate it because of what they were trying to like do,
Hmm.
but it seemed to be like a main focus, and it took away from the focus of Star Wars.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't like it when they make it the main focus. Like, if they just happen to
Yes.
be part of the LGBTQ, whatever. Like, okay, that's just a part of you. It doesn't really matter to me if you are. That's like, okay, cool fun fact about you. But if it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm doing this because I'm LGBTQ. Oh, you're like attacking me because I'm LGBTQ. Oh, everything LGBTQ. That's just a little bit too much, you know? Oh,
Yeah.
Dragon Age, Dragon Age. High Fabled Peak. He gave up. He
Dragon Age. Oh, the
Is
new one.
yeah, I haven't played it, so I don't know.
So
Is that
apparently, from
also
what I
kind of like
hear,
Baldur's Gate where you can like romance all the characters?
kinda. But from what I've been told and what I've seen, is in Dragon Age, they punish you for being quote unquote a bigot.
Oh, that's a little like
Not like punish, but like I forgot what exactly happens, but you get a big old slap on the wrist if you misgender someone, from what I've heard.
that's lame. Like,
um
come on now, it's a video game.
uh anyways, continue as you were saying.
Oh, but yeah,
Oh
those
wait,
are my examples
okay.
of wokeness, I
Okay.
guess.
So now do you
Uh
want me to explain
your yeah.
my like
Yeah,
my
your
view
take.
on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because in video games I don't really play too many woke video games or any that have really woke elements in them. So I
Uh-huh.
think since you are more of the video game player, like especially with more recent video games, especially like more male focused video games, since I know you play like a lot of Black Ops and things, I don't know if they've done anything recently to make them a tad bit more woke, so to speak.
Like in Black Ops specifically, or the games that I've been playing lately?
The games that you've been playing, but I don't know with Black Ops either, just because
Um
that's like one of the main games I know you've been playing
okay.
recently.
So Black Ops, no, not yet, but we will. Let's see. I'll put one of my favorite story games out there.
Okay.
The Last of Us.
Mhm.
Um so like you said, they're I don't like it when it's the main focus.
Yeah.
Um in The Last of Us, the main character, especially in part 2, not so much part 1 cuz part 1 is all about Joel.
Mhm.
Um but in part 2 you play as the homegirl Ellie.
Yes.
And in part 1, the very first game, it's made known, and in the DLC it's further proven she is lesbian.
Yes.
Um well, throughout the story and stuff like that, you hear her talking about the girl that she like kind of had a crush with. She doesn't like outright say it, but
Yeah.
she'll talk about her. In the DLC, it's focused on her and her best friend, and then they share a kiss in an abandoned mall.
Uh huh.
To the point where, do you want spoilers for the DLC? I don't know if you'll ever play this.
Uh, probably not. I'ma
Okay,
be
so do
real.
you want just spoilers then?
I don't care, but you should do like a spoiler warning.
Okay, spoiler warning. I'm gonna give 5 seconds to cover your ears or lower the volume. One, two, three, 4, 5. Okay, in the DLC in part 1, um, the DLC focused on her and her best friend.
Mhm.
Well, they go to an abandoned mall and they're playing video games and they're riding the rides. They're generally having a good time. They steal a bottle of whiskey, I think, or bourbon,
Mhm.
and they drink and they're having fun. Well, shit happens and they end up having to run away from zombies.
Okay.
Both of them get bit.
Oh.
Yeah, both of them get bit, but before they get bit, they end up sharing a romantic kiss in like the arcade, I believe.
Okay.
And then they're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this is happening!" Like awkwardness, like regular type teenager shit.
Yeah, just
Um,
teenager stuff.
but towards the end, they get bit, and the DLC ends basically them waiting to die together. Because once you get bit by an infected, you turn
But
within a certain
isn't
amount of
Ellie
time.
like immune or something?
Yes, she didn't know that at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she was ready to die by her bestie's side because she, like I said, she got bit and she didn't turn.
Mhm.
So later on in the game, in the main game, outside of the DLC, she explains that she had a friend and that they were gonna die together, all kinds of other shit, whatever. Um, so it's proven that she's a lesbian. In the second game, it goes further into it, and she has a girlfriend by the name of Dina.
Huh.
And like a good half of the game you're spending the whole time with Dina, and there's romantic parts and you share kisses and all that other stuff, and but they don't make it a main personality trait for Ellie.
Yeah.
Yes, she's lesbian, but she's still Ellie. She's this badass fucking. I think she's 20, 18, around there in the second game.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, she's lesbian, but that's like a side note in her main personality. They're not just tossing it to the side because, like I said, they do a lot to show that she's lesbian, but it's
Yeah.
not a main focus,
Yeah.
and that's fine with me.
Yeah, make it just like a character trait, but not their whole personality.
Yeah, there are some people out there, and we're talking about real life now. There are
Yes.
some people out there that make being gay or queer or bi or lesbian their whole entire personality.
There are. Yeah,
We
definitely.
we ourselves have family members that are
Part of that community, but
part of that community,
they don't go that
but
far.
yeah, none of them are that far.
It just, yeah, I'm gay or yeah, I'm lesbian. But
Hmm.
it's just like that's a small part of me because
Yeah,
I like doing these other things. I don't
you're
let that
you're
kind
you're a
of be
bigger
everything.
person. You're a bigger part than just being part of that community. You're
Exactly.
more than just part of that
And my
community. Yeah.
sister, for example, she's lesbian. However, like she's like, "Oh, I'm just like a mask." Uh
Hmm.
like she doesn't even call herself lesbian. She just says she's mask and
Right.
she's not like trying to transition or nothing. She just likes presenting more like masculine. She even cut her hair
Hmm.
recently and I showed you. And did I show
Hmm.
you?
She looks good. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she
It's
looks
like
good.
a kind of a mullet
Yeah.
almost.
Sometimes I joke with her and I'm like, "Hey brother." And she's like just because she looks like our dad now a lot more.
Oh
But
yeah.
yes, she just lives her life however she wants to live it. She parties.
Yeah.
Sometimes she'll still dress girly, but that doesn't mean she's like not lesbian. But she's not letting
Hmm.
being a lesbian like, oh yeah, I'm going to let
Dictate
that
her whole entire life.
dictate what I do with my life. Am I only going to hang
Yeah.
out with um, women and try and hit on women all the time? No.
Hmm.
Am I going to only go to gay bars? No. She still goes to straight bars. She just has fun. It just
I don't know why.
you don't have to stay in that one kind of thing, you know? Oh, he left me. But yeah, it's like whatever though. What other games? Oh, I guess Assassin's Creed kind of has a little bit, but not really. It's just if you
Okay, I'm
want.
back. Sorry,
Oh, I
my
was.
wife is looking for my camera.
Oh, it's okay. I was going on a tangent of Assassin's Creed sort of has it. If you choose either male or female, you can still romance like male characters if you play as a male or female characters if
Great,
you.
but you also
But
like
it's
you said.
only a small part of the game. It's just like a little
It's
fun bit that you could do like personally. However, there's a
hmm.
grander piece. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay. Well, while she's muted, I'll further continue. Um, yeah, The Last of Us Part Two. Ellie is more than just lesbian, and that's okay. Same thing with I'll put one of Justine's games out there, Baldur's Gate. You can romance the same sex. You can even make your character non-binary, but it's not a main focus on the game. The main focus is fucking Dungeons and Dragons. Um,
What are you talking about?
I I think that's fine. Baldur's Gate. I'm throwing Baldur's
Oh
Gate
yeah,
out there
Baldur's
because
Gate. You can even be
you can
poly
romance.
if you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
However,
You
there's
can
only certain
romance the same.
characters that you can do that with.
Yeah.
Hi, Raw
There's
seven seven
you
seven
can
two
make yourself
four.
non-binary too. You can date romance the
Mhm.
same sex, but
Yeah.
it's not a primary focus in the game. The main focus of the game is fucking Dungeons and
The
Dragons.
same thing. Like you can even make your character like a Fuda if you
Mm-hmm.
wanted, or like what is the other version of that? I don't know. Whatever the other version of that is. But it's just like, yeah, you can be whatever you want to be in that game. Romance whoever you want to, or not. You don't have to romance anyone in that game if you don't want to. It's just an
Mm-hmm.
option
That's what my
provided
wife's
to
doing.
you.
My wife's not romancing anybody.
Oh, she's playing it?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. What does she think?
She likes it so far.
Man, we still need to find out a way to do like our multiplayer run.
Agreed.
Yeah. I've been wanting to play. But it's so boring playing by myself because I've done it so many times.
I know.
We'll get there. We'll get there eventually. And then I need to upgrade my Wi-Fi. Yeah, I know my Wi-Fi sucks.
Um,
But
but
continue where you were going with the Baldur's Gate.
oh, but yeah, like I said, it's not a. I'm reiterating myself. It's just it's not a main focus, and I think
Mhm.
that's fine. Most people, there's a lot of people that they see that you can romance the same sex or that you can make yourself binary in some
Mhm.
games,
Mhm.
and they just won't fucking play it. And that's your own prerogative.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
not
yes.
gonna fucking. I think you should be more open, especially with the age that we're in. But
Honestly, it
I'm
just like if that's not for you, you don't even have to do it in the game. It's
yeah.
just an
If that's not
option
for you, it's
available
not for
to you.
you.
Yeah. However,
But yeah,
yeah. So what were some of the other games that you know of that have like
th-
wokeness in them?
um, let's see. What other games have I played? Fallout.
Oh, it does.
Fallout, yes, Fallout in the Fallout games in three and all of them, I think.
All of them?
In Fallout 1 and Fallout 2, you can do it as well. I think in Fallout 1 and Fallout 2, you could also become a prostitute. You can be a porn star.
Oh.
Yeah. That was one of the
Oh.
options in that game. But in 3, 4, New Vegas, and 76 as well, uh you can romance and have sexual relations with the same sex as well.
Hmm.
Um, they haven't really added the option to make yourself non-binary or trans. You kind of have to just imagine that part, I guess.
Well, I don't really see the point, honestly, because it's like it would really just be dialogue options. Other than
Yeah.
that, what's the
My
real
main thing is
point?
here's my thing. In a made-up world where you can customize yourself to your heart's content, you can customize your ideal self.
Yes,
Why would you still make yourself trans?
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Why not make yourself to be your ideal self? So say for instance if it's a man transitioning to a woman and she feels like a woman,
Hmm.
why would you go into Fallout and make your character a man transitioning into a female? Why not just make it a female already if that's your goal?
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. That is kind of pointless. It's just like it would, if anything, it would just be like a dialogue option. If you
Hmm.
wanted to like have that character trait of trans. However, for character creation, like yeah, there's no real point in giving you the option to turn a man into a woman
Yeah,
cuz it's
I can see
like
that.
you're kind of defeating the purpose of the game,
I
like
mean,
creation
Fallout
right
as
there.
well, it's not a main point, but it helps sometimes. Say for instance, you want to be able to romance the same sex,
Mhm.
you can choose perks, like a special perk. For a man, it's fuck, I forgot what it was called. What was it? What was it? Confirmed bachelor. I think that's what it was called.
Mhm.
Um, but if you chose that perk, you were able to romance the same sex, and with that perk, not only are you able to romance the same sex, but you also deal 5% more damage
Oh.
against the same sex, and you have unique dialogue.
Hmm.
So if I take that perk, I've taken that perk a couple times in my run throughs because it makes some things easier.
Mm.
I'll give you an example. In New Vegas, there is a certain person in the military of that game that if you have that perk, you give you some dialogue and you pretty much tell him that he can handle your package because you're a courier. And he gets all flustered, and I think he gives you a discount on some of the shit he sells.
Oh my gosh, I can't
Yeah.
believe that's
So there's benefits to the perk, but that's one way that you can include it and make it fun, I guess. I don't want it to sound like it's it's a fun thing. Like it's not like purely for uh I don't want to be insensitive. That's not what I'm trying to go for.
Yeah.
But I don't know how else to say it. It's just a way to add some spice to being, you know, gay or lesbian in that video game.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, when they do shit like that, that's also I don't mind that. The Geneva Convention was pretty dope. No, it's not. The Geneva Convention prevents us from Killing the enemy team's medics, man. We don't want that. We want to commit war crimes.
War crimes. Of course you'd want war crimes.
But yeah, like I
Yeah,
said,
war
there's
crimes.
I'm in the middle of it. I think there's you can add it in uh without it being overbearing. Once you go too much, like the way they did in like the Acolyte, if we're going movie or TV show,
Mhm.
that was way too fucking much.
Yeah, that was like I
Also,
personally
they
haven't seen it.
retconned a bunch
However,
of stuff too.
yeah, I have a coworker that is super 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 into Star Wars and he told me about it and he's like, "Yeah, that kind of ruined it for me because they were really just pushing that agenda in every
Yeah, because like I
episode."
said, you're no longer focusing on Star Wars as a whole. You're making this community the main focus, and nobody watches Star Wars to watch and learn about the community that is the LGBTQ or whatever.
And the thing is,
You
how
watch
is
Star Wars to watch Star
yeah,
Wars.
and then how is it that every character that happens to pop up in the Acolyte happen to be part of the LGBTQ plus community?
Is it every character?
It's almost every character.
Jeez.
Yeah, almost the whole cast is like I'm either lesbian or I'm gay or I'm bisexual or something.
Yeah, I forgot what the actual point was
Hi, Nick the Young.
to the discussion, but somebody mentioned not too long ago that one of the the female main characters,
Mhm.
her and her girlfriend, her wife,
Hola.
whatever their status is, they used the Force to conceive a Force baby since they're both women,
That sounds kind of dumb. I don't think that's
and
how that works.
I forgot who said it, but they said something along the lines of like it it was said that that couldn't happen in the lore, or it's impossible, or the Force can't do that, stuff like that. I forgot what
Yeah.
the main argument was, but it was essentially, no, that can't fucking happen. The Force doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it even to me, someone who's not really into Star Wars, barely knows like surface level knowledge, that does not sound like something that would be possible with the Force. That just sounds
But
like somebody's head canon or somebody's fan fiction right there.
yeah, that was one of the things that I saw as well. Ow, stop shooting me. um but yeah, that shit has gone through. Did you also hear about that game that got canceled or shut down within, like, I think a week or a month?
What is it that one? Oh dang it, what was it?
Well, there's two of them. The first one that I'm talking about is Concord.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's gonna.
It was
That was
supposed to be the
supposed.
Overwatch killer,
Yeah, the Overwatch clone, basically. Yeah, I
but they
saw it.
made all the characters either part of that community or butt fucking ugly.
Yeah, because they were supposed to be diverse.
See, that's another thing. You can add diversity, but you don't have to make every character butt ugly.
Like they like. Well, they wanted to add some plus size people as well.
But not even that. They also made the character design just dumb.
Bad. Yeah, I know. I've seen them
Um,
myself, and they do
one of the
look bad.
characters, I don't think he was part of that community, but he was supposed to be a medic.
Hi, Mushi.
He was supposed to be a medic, and they made him plus size, which is fine if you want to make him plus size, which is
Yeah,
fine. But he had nothing on him that showed that he was a medic, and that's a key thing in
design.
character design. If you're going to give them something that they are going to be proficient at, say for instance you want somebody to be a soldier, you want to be able to create a character to where even if they don't have a face, or it's just an outline of the character, somebody can look at it and be like, oh, that's a soldier. And they totally missed that mark. Nothing about him screamed medic.
Yeah.
But it was all for diversity, and I think that's also what killed it. But
Mhm.
like I said, it also comes down to looks. I'm gonna be real. When I play
When
a
it
video
comes to
game,
games, it does come to looks. Why do you think
yes,
Shadowheart and Astarion are two of the most popular characters in Baldur's Gate?
because they're good fucking looking.
Exactly.
But let me put one of my favorite games in there. Um, I really like. Have you seen Stellar Blade?
Stellar Blade. I don't think I've
Yes,
ever seen anything
it's
about that.
a
Give me a
it's
second.
a
I'm gonna look it up.
okay, yeah, it's like a Dark Souls esque game, kinda, but it was made by a Japanese company.
Oh yeah, it looks good.
Yes, the female character that you play, Eve, in that
Mhm.
game, she is fucking beautiful. A lot of the female characters in that
She
game are
is.
fucking beautiful. The male characters in that game are fucking beautiful. Even the older characters and some of the heavier set ones,
Mhm.
even they look good.
Yeah.
And that game sold a fuck ton.
Mm.
Yeah, Viernan, I hope I pronounced that right. Wokeness can be okay in games if it's done organically. Yeah, no,
Like
unlike the
you.
huh?
Nick the Young said, like me.
Oh, um, yeah, we were just talking about like I said, my favorite game, story game, is The Last of Us.
Mhm.
A lot of those characters, especially Ellie, the main one that you play as, she's lesbian, but it's thrown in there organically, and it's not like a huge focus in the game.
It's just a
There are,
characteristic she kind of has. Like
yeah,
that's a part of who she is, but not. She's not making that everything she is.
yeah, she's not making being a lesbian everything about her. Like
Mhm.
that's not her main trait.
See, that's what I felt so bad about. The Umbrella Academy, for example.
Did they do the same thing in that one?
They did because one of the characters, dang it, what was her name? Vanya. Vanya. In the comics, she was just like a straight girl. That ended up getting led astray by one of her first boyfriend,
Uh huh.
and then almost destroying the world. And then they kind of go on some more misadventures, yada yada. But she's still a straight woman, I believe. Yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure. But in the show, I don't know if you know the actor. Let me.
It was DEI done right.
Uh, no. Vanya was played by.
Is it Elliot Page?
Yeah, Elliot Page. There we go. Elliot Page. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So the thing is, Elliot Page decided to like
Transition
transition.
to a man, right?
Yes, but
Right.
Elliot Page was still a woman. Well, identifying as woman, at least in the
Right.
beginning of um the first season, and then more towards the end, she started transitioning. You can kind of tell a bit, but she was still
Okay.
presenting as a woman. And then in season 2, when they kind of got blast to the past,
Mm-hmm.
um, she decided that, oh, well, I am going to make my character, Vanya, a lesbian.
Is she not in the comics?
She's not.
Okay.
So the thing with that was, there's a controversy about it because the creator of the show was like, oh,
Gerard Way.
yes. How are you finding all this? How do you know
No,
all this?
because Gerard Way has written. Dude, I love MCR.
Okay, well, anyway, I
I
don't
love
know
My
his
Chemical Romance,
name.
and I read everything about him.
I'm just um relaying like what
Yeah,
I
he's the
heard
lead
about the
singer of
situation.
My Chemical
Yes, yes,
Romance,
yes.
and he's written a
Anyway,
couple comics.
yes.
So,
So
anyways,
anyway,
continue.
him, I don't know if it was him specifically, but a showrunner. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't like the idea of Elliot Page transitioning because he's like, oh no, she's gonna ask for the character to be changed, and um sh- he Elliot Page
Mm-hmm.
said
Mm-hmm.
that he wasn't going to ask for his character to be changed just because he was transitioning.
Right.
And then they ended up changing Vanya because the collective story on that was that, oh yeah, we are going to kind of gather around Elliot Page and just like make Vanya
Support Elliot.
like support Elliot and become a lesbian and then transition into a trans man.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it came out that Elliot Page did stomp his feet to the showrunners and say, "Yes, I want you to change Vanya to be a lesbian, to be
Did
a
did
trans."
Elliot threaten to like leave the show if they didn't?
I did. I don't know the exact threats, but I do know that Elliot did threaten
Make
them,
some threats?
make some threats because they
Ooh,
wanted their character Vanya to be
like
trans.
them.
Yes, and it's like you're playing a character. Think about what's it called? Game. No. House of Dragons, for example.
Mhm.
Rhaenyra, the actress that plays her, she
Yeah.
is non-binary or something, and yet she plays a woman, and she's not trying to make
Mhm.
Rhaenyra non-binary or
No,
whatever the heck
because
she
yeah,
is.
when you're acting,
You're playing a
you're
part.
not you're
You're
not
being someone
making this
else.
character you. You're playing an imaginary character that's somebody else.
Yeah,
The
it's
goal
like,
isn't to make them like you.
yeah, you're not The Rock. The Rock has it in his contract that basically any character he plays is basically The Rock.
Yeah, it's him.
Yeah, you are playing a character in a comic. That's different. I want to see that comic person, not you. And for you to just go and threaten the showrunners and be like, I'm gonna make you, like, I want you to make my character trans and yada yada. Like, there's no need for that. Because
Bjornen said
your
that's the
feelings
problem when
honestly
politics
don't
is part of your
matter in
personality.
how that character is presented. Because it's just a character that you play.
Mhm.
Just like all of the other actors in that show. Like Klaus, for example. He's an openly like bisexual dude. He'll sleep with anything
Mhm.
in that show. And that's just how he's portrayed. His actor portrayed it pretty well. And
Oh,
I don't know if he actually is that way, but
yeah.
he was playing a role. And I think he did it pretty well, and he didn't have to force it.
Yeah.
For
One of my
Vanya, I
viewers by
felt
the
like,
name of Viernan said he corrected me. He says that's what happens when politics is your personality.
exactly, yes. And that's just a sad thing to have to. Yeah. And that's why it's just like, no. I, I could feel the disconnect from season 1 Vanya to season 2. I was like, okay, why the heck is she getting with this, like, um mom, and then wanting to take care of her son, and then she was living with that mom, her husband, and the son. She was like, "Oh, I don't know who I am, yada yada yada," and then um for some reason she puts the Riz on the mom
What the
and is
fuck?
like, yeah, she's like, "We need to run away together. Your husband,
While she's still
he's
with the husband?
yes." And the thing is, it's
Hmm.
because the husband's so bad to her and yada yada. So you
Is
should run
he
away with
actually,
me.
or is he just
He was a very
he told
strict
her no?
guy.
Oh.
He was a very strict guy, but I think they also had to like portray him that way to kind of push the narrative of run away with
He's
me.
yeah, run away
Leave
with me.
him and get with me. We can be a happy family together. But it's also like
Mhm.
they took you in and then you're doing
Yeah,
this. And
that's kind
you
of
can you
shisty.
can tell it could feel very forced.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So I it started going downhill in season 2 for me, at least for Vanya. Like the disconnect was really strong in that one. But for all the other characters, it was like okay. I really liked Klaus though. He had a lot of character development. 5, of course. He's 5. But yeah. Hello Zuko Games. I can't really see right now. I have my glasses off and I don't have contacts in. So,
I'm legally blind.
I'm legally blind. I'm legally blind. I can't see. Like I'm literally sitting right in front of my computer and I can't read anything on my screens. I can see like the colors and like the bigger letters. But yeah, I have terrible vision. um
And
but
I don't
but
want this to
yeah.
seem like it's like I'm because some people are probably going to see this and be like, "Oh, you're against." No, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
not.
we're not.
I myself am bi.
Yeah, you are.
I myself am bi. I've
Mhm.
I've not really dated men, but I've had experiences with men.
Oh,
Um,
I never heard about
yes.
those.
Oh yeah, I did.
Oh.
Um, I've uh romantically followed some guys before.
Oh.
Um, so I don't want it to seem like I'm against it because I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not against it either. Like, you do you. It doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. And I'll support you in whatever you feel like doing. My
Oh, I
only
didn't know
thing
that, Bjorn.
is please do not like try and push your beliefs on me.
Yeah, don't force it.
Yeah, like if I say, "Oh, this girl's cute." Don't say, "Oh, maybe you should pursue that." No, I'm just saying a girl's cute because A, I can appreciate when a girl looks cute. That doesn't mean I'm like bi or lesbian or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, even like for men, men can be like, "Oh, guy's looking hot today." Like he's looking nice. Not like,
So,
"Oh, I'm automatically like bi
do
or
you want to know?
something."
You want to know something?
What?
So I'm gonna lean away from video games really quick.
Mhm.
Um, back when I first graduated high school, and me and Alex weren't dating at the time.
Mhm.
Um, I was dating a non-binary person
Okay.
by the name of I'm just gonna use their non-binary name
Okay.
because I don't want to use their real name because they go by their real name now, and that's what I'm gonna explain to you. Um,
Oh. Okay.
in the beginning, they were all about being non-binary.
Mhm.
Like I would misgender them, and they would get pissed.
Oh.
Yes. Well, we dated for a little bit. Um,
How long is a little bit?
to be honest with you, I don't remember. I just know that because I think she goes by she now. Her actual gender.
Oh, okay.
Um, now, but throughout the time that we were dating, like I said, she would get pissed off when I misgendered her.
Mhm.
But as time went on, and I explained my viewpoints, and I pretty much explained to her like I'm fine with it, just don't push it down my throat.
Yeah.
Little by little, as we went and talked and discussed politics with each other,
Mhm.
I finally got her to like break away from that stuff. So she stopped
Mhm.
going by non-binary and she was like, "No, I'm a girl." Um a lot of the stuff that she was like really sensitive about,
Mhm.
like Orange Man per se,
Orange man.
Trump.
Oh. I was like,
She hated
what?
his guts. But by the time that
Oh.
we broke the relationship up, she was on the fence.
Ah. Okay. I have a question.
What's up?
So for that non-binary person that you dated, do you
Mhm.
happen to know why they decided to go as non-binary and identify that way?
I don't. They didn't really dress a mask. They always dressed like feminine.
Okay.
So I don't know the reason why. I'm gonna be real, and I'm gonna say my honest opinion.
Okay.
I think they did it just because it was the trend at the time.
Ah, I
They
see.
wanted to believe that they were subconsciously not really realizing it trend following.
Okay, I see. I see. Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with being that way so long as it actually accentuates their personality. Yeah, like I said, that's fine. It's fine to make it a part of you, but don't make it all of you.
yeah, I knew only one non-binary person. It was my friend's now ex-girlfriend. Well, technically ex-girlfriend. That's what he
Hmm.
called her. He, she still went by she, but also the non-binary, like identified as non-binary, which is confusing to me, honestly. But I was like, okay, I guess. I never understood why she went by as non-binary. I never really got a clear answer on that. And she presented just like normal, if that's like a thing. Wear just like normal shirts, like normal sneakers, normal pants, would wear dresses sometimes, not overly feminine, but just
Mhm.
like simple and normal. So I was like, okay, uh, I guess you're non-binary. I'll address you as such if that's what you want me to. I just don't really know why you identify that way because you just look
Mhm.
like a normal person. And nothing about this kind of like says non-binary to me, you know?
Yeah. Um, but yeah, Verna said that he works with a few whose entirety of their being is non-binary,
Yeah, my thing is
and I think
what
that's insufferable.
why do they identify as non-binary? Is my thing. Like, do you just not want to be like conforming to the gender norms? If that's the case, then it's like, do you really need to say you're non-binary? You can just not conform if
You
that's
can
what you
just
want to
be a
do.
guy that decides to wear dresses.
Exactly. Like what's it called? Uh like Jeffree Star again. I'm coming back to that point. He even
Mhm.
said, "I'm just a gay guy that likes to wear dresses. I'm not saying I'm a trans woman. No, because I know I'm a man and I'm gay and I just like to dress up, dye my hair, wear wigs,
Yeah.
paint my nails, all this stuff, wear makeup."
Yeah. Vernon said that he thinks that's the reason is they think, oh, since I like girly stuff, I might be a girl or I might be more girl leaning.
Mm.
And that's also another thing that I don't agree with. Um, because I mean, like we'll put in Yonki.
Yeah.
She likes girls, and she likes dressing like a guy,
Mhm.
but she's even told all of us she doesn't feel like a guy. She just likes you know presenting herself as masculine,
Yeah,
more masculine.
she told me that like I guess in the lesbian realm of things, there's like
She's butch.
she's not butch or nothing like that. She's not trying to be the man in the relationship or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess her type of lesbian is mask, where they just like dressing more masculine rather than
Mm-hmm.
like the girly lesbians that like
Do
dressing
you
more girly and
remember
doing things like that.
Thea Valerie? I don't know. Nugs's mom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Do you remember when she used to date Thea Susie?
yeah.
Thea Susie was a mask.
Hmm.
She didn't think she was a male. She was just a girl who liked in her words, she was a girl who liked vagina.
I've never heard that one before, but
Oh yeah,
that's funny.
she's gotten drunk and told me plenty of times.
Oh, but yeah, it's just like you don't have to conform to the gender, gender norms. It's just like me, for example. I am just like not super girly. Sometimes I dress tomboyish if I'm like super lazy. I'm like, okay, I'm
Mhm.
just gonna go out in basketball shorts and an anime shirt with my hair up in a bun to go to the store real quick. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care. It's just like
But just because you dress semi-masculine doesn't mean that you want to be a
I
man.
I dressed like that once to kind of scare my aunt once because I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm gonna dress like a guy and see if she'll notice who I am when I knock on her door. So what I did was, I think, what did I do? I wore, I think, my cousin's like graphic tee of like some kind of band or something with some
Mhm.
basketball shorts and a beanie. So I put all of my hair into the beanie. So I kind of just look like, um, a feminine boy, like one of those like cutesy face boys. So then
Mhm.
I rode my bicycle all the way to her house and knocked on it, and she kind of freaked out. She's like, "Who the heck is this?" And she opened the door and was like, "Huh?" And then she saw my face. She's like, "Justine?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's me." And she's like, "I couldn't even tell it was you." She thought it was just like some little middle school kid
Yeah.
coming to play with one of her sons. And I was like, "Yeah, no, it's me. I just wanted to dress this way. Like, you don't have to just dress a certain way because of your
Yeah.
gender. It's just like if you feel in that mood, dress that way. Or
Mhm.
if a guy likes pink, that doesn't mean he wants to be a girl.
Mhm.
It just means, dude, you like pink. Good on you. Pink's a nice color. I personally, my favorite color is blue, specifically like light blue. Oh, I love that color. It's so I love it. Does that make me a guy
Yeah.
because I like blue? No. I just think blue's a nice color. Oh, I
Yeah.
think it's
I
this
think
blue that I have in my stream. That's one of my favorite colors. Yep, 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 yep.
I think that's another thing that play. Oh, hold on. Mainly during the last 4 years, I think shit's gonna change these next 4 years with who just got elected.
Yeah.
I think shit's finally gonna start going back to the older ways.
Mhm.
Not necessarily in a bad way. I'm just saying some of the shit that's being allowed now isn't going to be allowed anymore,
Mhm.
or at least not to the degree that it is.
Mhm.
Um, but lately it's been a trend of, we'll take children for example. Children from the ages of 1 to 4, the parents will see the little boy play
Mhm.
with dolls
Yeah.
and be like, "Oh, he wants to be a girl." This child doesn't even know what Ninja Turtle his favorite is. He changes
Yeah.
his mind like 3 times a day.
Oh, I saw this crazy thing. This family transitioned their 2-year-old son
Mm-hmm.
to a girl because
Mm-hmm.
he liked pink. They're like, "Oh, he's got to be a
Yeah, that
girl."
that that's fucking horrible in my opinion.
I felt bad for the kid because I was like, "There's nothing wrong with liking pink, and you don't have to automatically say, oh, he's a girl now." At two
Mm-hmm.
years old, that's
I
too young.
believe I saw a news article. I have to find it. I might be wrong on some things,
Mhm.
so don't take this as truth. But I remember seeing a news article where the mom wanted to transition her like 4-year-old boy into a
Mhm.
girl,
Mhm.
and they were separated. The
Yes.
dad was like, "No, what the fuck? Like, don't fucking do that."
Yeah.
And he tried to win custody, and they took him to court, and I believe the judge ruled that like he was not allowing his child to be who his child wanted to be,
Mhm.
and gave full custody to the mom, and she ended up fully transitioning the son,
Oh, the full way
like
bottom surgery
gender
and everything.
surgery as well.
That's too young to do that.
Like I said, I might have to look up the article again just to double check because this don't take this as 100% correct. But I remember seeing an article to that degree, and that shit disgusted me.
Mhm. I think that the child should at least be older because there's also a lot of these detransitioners that are coming out that are saying I was too young to fully understand. Also, my therapist was telling me that my depression was because I was in the wrong body, or I should have been a man, or I should have been a woman. So I should transition to get rid of my depression. And that turned out to be false. And then they also got all of these surgeries, started testosterone or started estrogen, and now they can't really go back. Either their voice is low now or too high,
Hmm.
and they already got the surgery that you can't really come back from. And it's only after they kind of found themselves out more that they're able to be like, you know what? I don't think being a man or being a woman was for me. I should be my born gender.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to wait until the children are a little bit older to where they can actually
Oh,
make
thank you, baby.
these adult decisions.
Yeah. I've
Song
discussed with
request.
my wife, um, discover yourself.
Mhm.
Try new things. Obviously, not like crazy new things,
Yeah.
because there's some shit that children should not be
Yeah.
doing. If
Oh.
my child, for some reason, decides that I want to be a male or I want to be a female,
Mhm.
okay, that's fine. As long as you don't force it on me and your mother, that's fine. But also, you're not getting surgery or anything life altering until you're 18.
Yeah.
Because legally, then you are an adult. And I just don't want, say, for instance, for some reason, we decide to go along with them and get them surgery at like
Mhm.
14 years old.
And then they
What if they
blame
turn
you.
6? Yeah, what if they're 16 and they're like, I don't want this anymore. I'm
Mhm.
not this person, and they blame me. I don't want to be the reason for their maybe misery.
Yeah. I would sit them down and ask, why do you feel this way? Because
Hmm.
it's coming out now that a lot of it is because the school pressure, like their teachers are telling them that, oh yeah, you can be a boy or a girl. It depends on how you feel and things like that. There were even books that got recently banned from schools that were LGBTQ books directed towards
Mhm.
children, teaching them how to do certain sexual things
Yeah,
to
that's
themselves
insane.
and others. And I was like, what? This was in children's schools? And there's actually a pretty decent handful of them that recently got banned. And rightfully so. And I don't know how they even got put in schools in the first place. Because, yeah, I would understand if it was like in a sex ed class, but you do that, what is it? I think the most basic one you get in like fifth or sixth grade? And then you get another one in like, what, eighth grade?
I did mine.
I
I
remember
did mine
having one
fifth grade,
fifth grade. Yeah, I knew there was
and
one
then we got
in
another one in
elementary.
freshman and sophomore year.
Okay, I got another one in. Okay, I had one in elementary school, but the basics of just puberty stuff.
Hmm.
And then I think it was my eighth grade class. We had sex ed. Just teaching us about like STDs and like the basics. What to look out for, the differences between men and women, yada yada, that simple stuff. And then yeah,
Hmm.
again in high school, we took it again, but in a little bit more detail, but not like super detailed. It was only for like
Yeah,
one semester, but it taught you the basics of like, oh yeah, these are all the different contraceptions. Take these because we'd rather you know what to use instead of having babies and
yeah.
all
If
that
we know
jazz.
you're gonna do it, you guys are horny bastards. At
Yeah.
least be safe to do it.
Exactly. And I would understand if they were to like introduce a little bit of, you know, um, LGBT, um, kind
Thank you, Volt 63.
of, what is it? Education in sex ed classes, but only
Hmm.
like maybe it's pushing it saying middle school, but maybe middle school, definitely high school. Um, it's sad to say middle school, but it's kind of the truth into where kids are getting pregnant younger nowadays.
Oh
But it's
yeah,
also because of the
nowadays it's
culture.
horrible. Hmm. The culture is
Unfortunately,
allowing it.
yeah, and it's a sad thing that our culture is allowing it because especially hookup culture. But when we look at the parents of these younger generations, they also got pregnant really young
Hmm.
and they like some of them are doing a good job, but unfortunately the majority they're not doing so hot as parents in educating their children. And COVID did a real number on these kids as well because they weren't
Hmm.
really getting an a good education at the time because they were all online and most parents weren't like watching their kids the whole time while they were taking these online classes, so they were able to slack off.
Hmm.
And it did put a lot of them behind in their education. And there are even studies that show that they actually did get put behind by a few grades because of
Yeah.
this. So most kids don't even have a basic understanding. I feel bad when I see like what is it? Um some of those like influencers or whatever asking people questions on the street about like basic American stuff like name 3 states and people name like 3 cities in their state. And it's like,
Yeah.
are you for real?
Yeah.
Or
That's.
name the president. Or who's the governor of your state?
Hmm.
I don't know.
And they don't know it, but they know exactly what, certain positions are or what sexuality a certain thing is just by the definition of it.
Mhm. So just like we need a little bit more education on that, but with the recent election, there have been teachers that have posted on social media their breakdowns in class
Oh, there's a
or
lot
they're
of
lashing
breakdowns, yeah.
out at their students because of who got recently elected. And I believe that is totally unprofessional.
Yeah,
Um,
as a teacher, that is
it is
way
actually
unprofessional.
part of the teacher's like code of conduct that political stuff is to be left at home and not to be brought at school, the workplace,
Hmm.
because you're not supposed to influence the children on your personal political standing. Like if they hear about it, let them inform themselves or just teach them history or something like that if you're a history teacher. But that's not your job to tell them, oh, you should have voted this way. Oh, you need to vote this way in the future, or don't vote that way. That way's bad, kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's their choice to make up. You can't influence them one way or another. That's just their personal choice.
yeah. The shit that gets me too is there's been multiple cases where teachers will transition parents' kids secretly.
Is like that should be illegal because like the
That should
parents,
at
that's
least be
their
some
child.
type of grooming.
Yes, it should be because parents should know what their kids are doing. Remember that old little commercial that would play when curfew would
Oh, do you
set
know
in?
where your it's
Do you know
10 o'clock? Do you know where your child is right now?
yeah, do you know where your children are? It's like these parents nowadays don't even know what their children are doing, either
Hmm.
online or their personal life, or if they're transitioning.
Oh, I think the easy access to the internet has also pushed that kind of stuff
It's
way too far.
because a lot of people are being influenced. Oh my gosh, I felt so bad. My coworker's daughter was getting bullied online by a neighbor.
By neighbor.
Yes, a little girl neighbor. Apparently, they had a falling out.
Okay.
So the little girl neighbor, who was like maybe a grade or two above her in
Mm-hmm.
school, she would post on her social media of pictures of my coworker's daughter saying, "Oh, look at this fat ugly girl," um,
Oh my god.
and like say all these kind of mean things. And I'm like, okay, you're not talking to this little girl anymore because you had this falling out, but that doesn't mean or give you any right to
Start
post
bullying
her
them.
picture for one on the internet without her like any permission because that's a child, and then degrade her like that. Like you're putting her on blast for some like one, she's not even fat and she's not ugly, and you're just trying to deface her like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
so, I know my coworker was going to deal with it because it's a neighbor, so she was going to talk to the neighbor's parents.
Mm-hmm.
But like, come on. These people should know what their children are doing and posting on social media to have gotten even this far.
Yeah.
It should have been restricted, is what I'm saying. Like, I bet the parents didn't even know she had posted that until my coworker went and said, do you know what your sister, not sister, your daughter posted about my daughter?"
Yeah. Here's and I don't even understand why it's controversial. Uh, my kids aren't getting electronics until they're at least 16.
Mm.
My kids now I will allow them to have consoles at video game like for video games because I grew up playing video games.
Yeah.
Um, but phones, tablets. Oh my god, I hate the kids that have tablets at restaurants or at dinner time, or are
Oh,
just on the tablets 24/7, like plug charging the tablet and sitting by the wall playing it
I believe
because
a
they
child
don't want.
under at least like 13 should not have a phone or
Mm-hmm.
a tablet. Unless it's like at home to where they're just like, watching videos or whatever. Okay, sure, maybe. Not a little child, by the way. Maybe like a 10-year-old. They can start having a tablet time. But like little kids, go play with freaking dolls or outside in the mud like
Dude,
it
as
used
a
to
kid,
be.
I dug in the dirt. I rode quads.
Yeah,
I
go ride your
fucking
bicycle.
pretended sticks were guns. Like,
Exactly. Use your imagination. And that's why a lot of kids are being like delayed or watching like the wrong kind of information and getting influenced by all these things. And as soon as you take that tablet or phone away, give me my
Temper
phone
tantrum.
back.
Yeah, that's also another thing. That's why children these days, in my opinion, when you tell them no for the first time, they lose their shit. Is because the parents aren't raising them anymore.
They don't
They're
tell
the
them
tablet
no.
is.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I've also talked to Alex that if my kids are like beg us to the point where they're like, we want a phone. Okay, you can get a flip phone.
I know, right? Start off how we
Yeah,
did.
yeah, you can get a flip phone, but I don't want a flip phone. You said you wanted a phone. Yeah, but I wanted to get Snapchat and Instagram. Then no, you don't want a phone. Fuck that. You're not getting that
You
shit.
don't have like
You don't need social media
children
at 12
don't
years
need
old.
yeah, children do not need social media because it just brings about way too many problems, way too many bad influences. And think about all these challenges that were popping up: the Tide Pod
Oh
challenge,
yeah.
the choking challenge. Like, think about all the kids that died because of those stupid challenges. And it's like,
Oh,
why were
speaking
they
of,
even seeing
did
that
you hear
stuff?
what happened within like the last 2 weeks?
About what?
Um, this child, I forgot how old he was. I think he was a teenager. Uh, was talking to an AI version of one of the girls from Game of Thrones,
Mm-hmm.
and was falling in love with this AI version of the character, and the AI version told the kid to come home to her, so he killed himself.
What?
An AI bot pretty much told this kid that in order for them to be together, he needed to kill himself so that he can come home to her.
How
So
old
he
was
did.
this kid?
I have to find the news article. Let me see. Let me find it on my phone.
Yeah, I see that you were playing what, Black Ops?
Yeah. Let's see.
But yeah, I'm just like, things are getting just too crazy nowadays.
Yeah, here. I pulled up the article. Oh, thank you. Um. Ooh, he was 14.
Ugh, too young.
In the final moments before he took his own life, 14-year-old Sewell Setzer III took out his phone and messaged the chatbot that had become his closest friend. For months, Sewell had become increasingly isolated from his real life as he engaged in highly sexualized conversations with the bot, according to a wrongful death lawsuit filed in federal court in Orlando this week. The legal filing states the teen openly discussed his suicidal thoughts and shared his wishes for a pain free death with the bot, named after the fictional character Daenerys Tar- Targaryen
Mm-hmm. That's
from the
Daenerys,
television
yeah.
show from Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
Um, on February 28th, Sewell told the bot he was coming home and it encouraged him to do so. The bot encouraged this kid to do so. I promise I will come home to you. I love you so much, Danny, Sewell told the chatbot. I love you too, the bot replied. Please come home to me as soon as possible, my love. What if I told you I could come home right now? He asked. Please do, my sweet king, the bot messaged back. Just seconds after the AI chatbot told him to come home, the teen shot himself.
My question is, how was he even able to get in possession of a firearm?
Um, let's see.
Because if the family had a
Uh,
safe, for example, and the kid happened to know the code, that kid should not have known that code. Or if it was
yeah,
just like
it
out
doesn't
in the
say how
open.
he got in possession of the firearm.
Yeah, that is one of my questions. Because then that would also be on the parents for not having a secured firearm, you know.
Yeah.
But I do understand. My other question would be, with this kid, was he kind of like a loner type that kind of drove him to find solace in this AI chatbot?
I don't know. It
Because
doesn't
if that
discuss it
because
either.
if that was the case, then it could have been he was dealing with some kind of mental kind of a situation here. Probably like problems with isolation. Maybe he was getting bullied, or maybe he just didn't have anyone else he could rely on, like other than his family. Because like when you're that age, you do need that
Well, apparently, from what
connection
the
with
article
friends.
says, and from what the mom said or the parents, is after the discovery of the chatbot, that's when he started to isolate himself.
Mm.
So once he discovered the chatbot and started talking to it, that's when he started shutting everybody out.
I think there is more behind it though, because
Well,
if he found what he needed in this chatbot, then yeah, you'll see more of the signs of the isolation
I
because
don't
he's
think
finding
what
what he
he
needs.
needed. I don't think so much as he needed because, as the article states, it was purely sexual. This is a 14-year-old barely going through puberty. I think he was thinking more with the other head.
Mm. Well, you do understand more of the like guy point of view in this, since you've been
Mm-hmm.
there, done that. So yeah, it was probably he was starting to explore that part of him, and it just got way out of hand because he was able to. Oh my gosh, I'm talking to a girl. Hi, Daniela 567K delay. Nice to have you. Um, but yeah, sad stuff. Sad stuff.
Yeah, that when I read that, that was insane.
It's just the
Um,
times that we are in right now is everything is just really going downhill.
mhm. I'm hoping shit changes soon.
Oh, thanks for following, Daniela.
Oh, you got to follow.
I got a
Cool.
follow. Nice. Thank you. Ugh. Um, but where were we?
Mm, I started talking about the kid killing himself to AI because of accessibility to technology at a young age.
Yeah. So, yeah, kids just should not be given that kind of technology at a young age. It delays them. Like look at our little cousin, Isaiah, for example.
Oh, he's on that tablet all the time.
He's on that phone all the time. He can't speak.
Hmm.
He still talks baby talk.
How old is he?
He is
Oh,
turning 7 next year.
7 and still doing baby talk?
Yeah.
Jesus,
Like he'll say a couple words here and there, but for the most part it's all mumbo jumbo. And
that's
he's
insane,
already going
actually.
into the second grade?
Oh God, yeah, that's not very good. That's not cash money.
No. And I don't know if he's been put into a speech program yet. Definitely
Uh
should
huh.
have been. Um no, I think he was put into a speech program. Uh but yeah, it's just it's cuz there's no one else his age, unfortunately, that he was able to grow up with and converse with. So, his parents are just like, "Here's this phone. Here's this tablet. Go play with that while we do our own thing." None of the other siblings wanted anything to do with him, like to play with him or anything, because they're all older. Of course,
Yeah.
no one's going to want to play with the baby. So it's like, I do understand it, but if you would have to treat it as if that was your first kid in that circumstance, if there's a giant age gap between your last kid and then your other kids. Because
But
otherwise, if
shit,
you
at
just
that
put,
point, why not just put him into sports? Have him play with kids his own age.
I think he is in sports now. However, it's also
Yeah,
in the
now.
um, developmental age, like ages that you have to have that kind of what is that? How do I say this? Exposure. There we go. Exposure to other children your age.
Yeah, so
Like
why
think
not put
about
him in sports at a
us.
young age? I played t-ball at a young age.
How old?
I think I was like, let's see, I think I was maybe 3 to 4.
3 to 4. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, for that one, oh, I don't know. Why I didn't put him in sports. I know he's in a sport now. I forget which sport. Maybe
But like you said, in the
baseball?
developmental age, they should have put him in sports if they started to, know kids his age. Put him in an activity where there's going to be kids his
But the
age.
thing is, when he was like 1 and 2, they would just give him the phone. Give him the phone. So shut up. Here's the
Yeah,
phone.
because
Shut up.
I don't think they wanted to parent him
It's just because
to that extent.
they were older and their kids were older. So it's like, okay, now we have this baby. Didn't really expect him to come, but now we have this baby. So, what are we going to do with this baby?
Yeah, I think that was also problem numero uno was not being protected and having a kid at that late of an age.
Late 30s, early 40s, I think. Late 30s, definitely.
And I'm not saying you can't because one of my friends in high school,
Mm-hmm.
her parents had her when they were already turning 50.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they were already up there in age, but she was a straight A student. She was going to college. I think she's still going to college.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Straight A's, was in band, was in a whole bunch of extracurricular. Like she was fucking smart. She
Yeah.
still is fucking smart. But that just goes to show two ways, like the path that it could go.
Yeah, like you have to
Had
invest time into your children too.
Yeah,
If
child
you
neglect.
if you neglect spending time with your kid, or join like parent groups that have other kids your kids age,
Hmm.
and let them interact, have play dates and things like that. But in our family, we usually rely on cousins to have the play dates with, because then it's easy. I get to see my like primo or whatever, and then ooh,
Hmm.
my baby gets to play with their baby. Bing bang boom, win win. However, there was nobody else that had a kid his age,
Yeah,
so that was the issue. They weren't able
I
to
don't know.
go
I
to a
think there
cousin's
was there
house and be
was
like, "Hey, let our kids play together." No,
I
that's
think there was options that they could have done, but they chose not to because, like I said, they were older, and the kids that they already had were already older.
what is
They
your
didn't really.
opinion on what they could have done in this situation?
Um, I think the way that he is now could have been avoided.
Okay, example.
Had they, I don't know. Like we'll put my mom as an example.
Okay.
I was speaking fluent sentences by two and a half,
Uh huh.
from what my
Same.
mom says, from my grandmother, because my mom did not speak to me like a baby. They spoke to me as if I was already grown up.
Mhm.
Um, my mom also pushed me to be like good at I'm not really good at math. That's my brother. But if we're talking English and
Mhm.
literature,
Mhm.
dude, I was reading at a college level in first grade.
Mhm.
Um and that was because, like I said, my mom did not want me to be one of the slower kids. So she cared.
Yeah. That's what
I'm
my
not
mom
saying
did too.
I'm not saying that our Theo and Thea do not care. I think they did, but not to the extent that they should have.
Mhm.
Because when you're a parent that actually cares, you take notice of what your kid needs and you provide those necessities to them. So had
Mhm.
they fully 100% cared, and I'm not trying to trash talk them.
Yeah.
This
Definitely
is
not.
not me trash talking them. Um, but had they fully 100% cared about this child's well-being, seeing that he had no cousins his age or friends his age to in that developmental stage,
Mhm.
someone like my mother and your mother who would have seen that shit, they should have put him in some type of uh kid play dates, any type of sports, extracurricular stuff, um just shit to get him around kids his age or to further progress his learning ability.
Yeah, because I remember when I was younger, if I wasn't spending time with my cousins, we would go to the park, and then my
Mm-hmm.
mom would watch me like a hawk, but she'd let me play with the other kids there. And yeah, that was fun. I got to talk, make some new friends that I would never see again. But it was fun getting to play with other kids. Because usually my
Yeah.
mom wouldn't let me play with anyone unless it was one of my cousins. Because she was deathly afraid of, bringing me around strangers. However, at a
Stranger
park,
danger.
yeah, but at a park, it's just me playing with other kids, and she could just sit there on the bench and watch me play.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I get it. Like,
Also, what's up, Tanir? Welcome in.
what's up, everybody? And I get that, like, not many people do that nowadays. Just go sit at the park for your kids. Because, like, why go to the park? We got a house. We got a yard. We don't have to go anywhere. What is there at the park? Just a playground?
No, I
So
still
they got
think
toys
kids
at
need that
home.
enrichment.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you do need that exposure to other kids. That's what you get at school, but you also need it when you're a lot younger so that you can kind of bounce off of them when it comes to learning your speech, like honing your speech skills, being able to communicate better with other people. Like if you're playing toys with other kids, it's like, okay, how am I going to communicate? Oh, I want to play with that toy. Or you want to play together, or let's build this little brick house together. You need to be able to communicate that. So it's going to have that make the child go and figure out how to communicate that. And that's when they start using words or more gestures. And
Mm-hmm.
having that kind of exchange with other kids also pushes the other kid to kind of communicate in their way. And it'll end up like growing over time to where they're just like speaking, like, oh, let's do this, let's do that, yada, yada, kind of stuff. And that's why I
Yeah.
feel bad about our little cousin because he didn't have that. No one talked to him. It was always just the phone talking to him, and he never had to respond because it was always one sided
Oh,
conversations.
thank you, Shane, for liking the live, by the way. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No problem. Hi, Shane.
But yeah, there's just steps that they could have taken to avoid where he is now.
Mm-hmm. But that's how it is with other children nowadays, too. Like, there are parents that actually do go that extra mile of trying to set up these play dates or taking their kids out to the park, doing all those like more like traditional parenting things.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are other parents that are like, I'm going to try and embrace this modern era of having kids on tablets or doing this kind of to distract them while I go and do paperwork, make appointments, and yada yada. Let the
Yeah.
internet or let technology raise my children because they'll have to end up using these electronics later on in life. So,
That
what's the
mindset's
harm?
dangerous, though.
But it is dangerous because are you really monitoring everything that they're clicking on? Because I know a lot of these kids nowadays are always on YouTube Kids, and YouTube Kids isn't being as heavily monitored as it should be because there's
No, it is
also a
not.
lot of bad content happening to slip up on there.
Oh yeah, like the Anna and Spider-Man stuff
Yeah,
that we were discussing the other day.
exactly. So there's that point. Also, it's kind of ruining your kids' social skills because it's like, okay, I can listen. I'm becoming a pretty okay listener because I'm listening to these people on screen. But how am I going to communicate to people? So then it kind of creates that situation of where people can't communicate their thoughts properly to others.
Mm-hmm.
And then it could maybe cause a little bit of social anxiety there because it's like, oh, now I have to be the one to speak.
Yeah,
I can't just sit
I
here
will
and
say
listen.
there are stuff in the technical, logical world that can aid in parenting.
Mm hmm.
Um,
Definitely.
my mother did allow me to watch TV, but the TV that I
Good.
was allowed to watch was educational cartoons.
Exactly. Like Dora,
S-
for example.
Dora, yes, I watched Dora. Mine instead of Dora, mine was Go Diego Go.
Oh, you watch Go Diego. Dang.
But I
I
watched
was
that.
growing up in the
Um,
Dora times.
Barney,
Barney, yeah, Barney. Teletubbies,
Between the Lions.
Between the
No, my mom didn't
Lines.
like Teletubbies.
She didn't like Teletubbies. Why?
No, she thought they were weird.
They kind of do look weird, but they're all
Uh,
about. It was kind of weird now that I think about it, but it wasn't too
but
bad.
Arthur
Arthur,
was another one.
yeah, it taught you a lot
Um,
of like social skills and like
Dragon
things
Tales.
like that. Yeah, Dragon Tales, a lot of friendship there, how to solve problems.
Bear in the Big Blue House.
No,
Oh no, you didn't watch that one?
no,
That one was good. I liked that one.
no. Cyber
Sesame Street.
Chase,
Cyber Chase was a good one too.
that was a really
Yes.
good one. Sesame Street, yeah, that was a good one too because it taught like
Clifford.
you basic stuff. Clifford, yeah, Clifford, that was a really good one too. They really just taught you a lot of like
What about
moral
SpongeBob?
stuff.
No, my mom did not let me watch SpongeBob at a young age.
Um, we didn't really have cable back in the day to watch SpongeBob. When I would go over to my grandparents' house, I would watch it. It wasn't bad. It was more just like, oh, let the kids just watch TV while we get dinner ready kind of thing.
Mhm. Yeah, my mom didn't like SpongeBob because it well, like I said, it wasn't educational.
Yeah, it
It
wasn't
was just
educational
stupid.
at
It was
all.
stupid humor. My mom doesn't like stupid humor.
See, that's why my parents wouldn't let me watch like South Park or American Dad
Oh,
or
dude, yeah,
Family
same.
Guy as a child. It's because my mom's seen it and she's like, "No, this is not appropriate for children and you don't
I
have to be
agree.
watching this." And
That
I
shit is
I
not
still
appropriate for children.
agree as an adult, like the shows are pretty stupid. Like if you're into that kind of adult humor, go for it. But for me, I don't really care for it. Simpsons though. We are allowed to watch The Simpsons. But it also did
This
have some pretty good episodes to it, where it did have kind of like
a teaching lesson.
teaching lessons and things like that. Some episodes are just kind of like goofy, you know.
Yeah.
There's always going to be those in cartoon shows like that. However, it did have its moments, so we were also allowed to watch that for like an hour when it would come on after school. But then again, it's only for like an hour.
Hmm.
And it gives them a reason to be like, okay, watch the TV and don't bother us,
Okay.
kind of thing.
Leave me alone. Don't talk to me.
Yeah, but they'd also play, you know, those other shows that we've already listed. Either, um, I don't think they really played in the afternoon, did they? Or only in the
What?
mornings, like the PBS shows.
No, they played all day
They did.
except for
Okay.
nighttime. Yeah, at
Okay.
nighttime they switched over to during the day it was PBS, but I think at night they switched over to Sprout.
Ah. Oh yeah, Sprout. Yeah. But yeah. PBS really good channel. For being a free network to just be able
I
to
think
watch. Very
PBS was
educational.
focused on educational
Yeah,
stuff
it is
too
an
as well.
educational. They even had games that you can play online on the computer when the computer came
Mhm.
more of a popular at home thing. And it was all very educational, but also very fun. I did like the
Yeah.
games when I would play on the
If not
PBS.
like if not school education, it was moral education.
Yes, and that's what I liked
Like
about it.
sharing and family and friendship and
Just being a good
shit like that.
person,
Yeah,
basically. And I feel we don't have a lot of that anymore
not anymore.
in modern television. It's more just like brain rot or what's like the latest trend happening nowadays. And that's not good for children because then it's like, okay, this may be a trend right now, but it's not always going to be a trend. Morals
Yeah.
aren't trendy. Morals stick with you forever.
I don't like some of the cartoons that have flashy, loud, random like musics and sounds just for the sake of being flashy to get kids' attention.
It's
One
an example.
example,
Yeah.
Coco Melon.
That I can't stand it. I would play it
There's
for Zay Zay when I'd have to babysit him because he liked
mhm.
it. But I was like, what is this freaking stuff?
Yeah, there was data found that kids that watched Cocomelon were more likely to have some type of like learning slowness and
Mm.
prone to tantrums.
Oh. See, I didn't know that. I Okay, so for me, the only reason why I played it was because I have Netflix, and the only thing that would kind of shut him up was that because he's like Coco Melon, Coco Melon. So I was like, okay, I
Yeah,
guess I'll play
that's to the
Coco
point where
Melon
he's
for you.
already too far gone.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I guess I'll play it for you. I don't really know what Coco Melon is. I guess it's just songs because that's all that was really playing for me. But I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I guess go for it. And then he would just knock out. But but it's just like,
Tenier says
oh.
Cocomelon is creepy. Also, documentaries be hitting.
Oh, documentaries are really good because they're
Yeah.
very
Yes.
educational. But I do get for children, especially that young, of course they're not going to understand a documentary.
I guess it depends because I don't know if you could classify it as a documentary, but as a child, how it's made fucking
Oh, I
smacks.
loved how it's made. I still love how it's made.
Even as a kid, my eyes were glued to the screen. I want to know how rubber bands are made, man. I want
Well,
to know how paper clips
yeah.
are made.
But it's also depends on what kind of child you are. Because if you're like one of those curious, like, oh, how do you make
And I
that? How do you
guess
make
that's
this
kind of the
kind of
child that
children?
we were then. I guess it
Mm-hmm.
differs. What
Because
about
some
Pink
kids don't
Fong for kids? What's Pink Fong,
care.
Tanier?
What?
I don't know. Continue while he explains it.
Oh, what I'm trying to say is like, dang. Where was I? I don't even remember anymore. But
How some kids aren't the same when it comes to like watching educational stuff like
yeah,
that.
some people are just like, okay, it's made and I use it. So what? Okay. Others are like, well, I want to learn like well, have that deeper understanding of what I'm using and things like that. Just like how there's like vegans, for example. They want to know
Mm-hmm.
exactly what is in their vegan products so that they know that okay, yeah, this is a certified 100% vegan product. There's nothing to do with any kind of meat or kind of things like that in this product that I'm buying. The people that make it are fully vegan. They have nothing to do with the meat industry, yada yada. Just having that kind of curiosity to know a bit more, I guess. Some people kind of
Mm-hmm.
just let sleeping dogs lie in a sense of just like, it is what it is. I don't need to know any more than that. But if you
Yeah.
have that little bit more of curiosity, to say, like, well, maybe I'd like to make it. I would like to see how it's made. That's why there's a lot of these how to channels and like blacksmithing ones. Like, if you want to be a blacksmith or an engineer or something, this channel's for you because we teach you how to do it kind of step by step.
Oh, Tanier
And
said Pink Fong was the same people that made Baby Shark. I think Baby Shark is brain rot.
I think it is too.
It teaches nothing. It's just a funny haha song that kids can learn, and it's
Mm-hmm.
annoying one at that.
Yeah.
I will say there are some cartoons, newer ones, that are good. Uh, Bluey. I'm gonna be real. Sometimes when I go over to my uncle-in-law's house, his kids love Bluey. I've sat down and watched some of that shit, and it's good.
Oh, when we didn't mention Blue's Clues.
Blue's Clues, yes, I love Blue's
Blue's
Clues. Blue's could
Clues.
do, you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Steve.
But
I miss him.
yeah, Bluey's a good one. I like Bluey.
I haven't seen Bluey, so I don't know enough about it to be able to
Bluey
give any kind of
touches on
verdict.
some pretty like mature topics and explain it really well
Kid friendly manner.
in a kid friendly manner. Yeah, like one of the okay, I'll give you a rundown of one of the episodes that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Um, basically, Bluey, the main little girl,
Yeah.
the blue dog. I
Yeah.
almost said purple.
Well, I didn't know Bluey
Um,
was a girl. I thought
yes,
Bluey was a boy.
Bluey's a girl. Bingo's a girl too. They're both girls.
Oh, okay.
Um, anyways, while she's copying her father doing everything that he does,
Mm-hmm.
in one of the episodes, she's copying her father and everything that he does until when they pass by a tree, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
they find a bird that's like on the verge of death.
Mm.
and they pick it up and they take it to the vet, and the veterinarian comes out, and Bluey's like, is the bird okay? And the vet's like, no, I'm sorry, the bird died. And like the whole time Bluey's like, is he gonna get better? And the dad's like, no. Will he ever come back? No, sorry. That's kind of what happens when they die. But they explain it in a kid friendly manner.
Mm.
And throughout the episode afterwards, um, Bluey pretends with her little sister, makes up a scenario where they play pretend, and she has her little sister be the bird.
And die?
And when no, and when she goes to the vet, the bird gets better. It's like her coming. I don't know what the exact words is. It's her dealing with grief,
Ah, I see. So kind of like a
and pretty
coping
much,
mechanism.
yeah, and pretty much her parents were like, sometimes people die, and they sometimes they just don't get better.
Mhm.
But they did that one. There was another one where sometimes it's for the parents too. There was an episode where the mom was explaining. The episode is called "The Baby Race."
Mhm.
The mom was explaining how she had Bluey, the older girl, in a daycare
Mhm.
with like the moms,
Yeah.
and they were having what's called a baby race to see which baby made it to walking the fastest.
Mhm.
And all these other kids were picking up, certain steps like crawling,
Mhm.
and then leaning up on stuff, like holding themselves up, and then, to actually walking all by themselves. And the whole episode, as the stages went on, um Bluey, instead of crawling,
Mhm.
Bluey would uh butt shuffle. So she would sit on her ass and
Mhm.
use her hands to pull her forward.
Mhm.
And the mom was like, "What's wrong with my kid?" And the doctor kept telling her, like, "Nothing's wrong. Some kids just, they start like that." And the next stage, when everybody was learning how to crawl, she learned how to crawl, but she would only crawl backwards.
Mm.
And then the next stage was leaning up on stuff. Uh, and she didn't. I forgot what other stage she did, but she didn't pick up walking as fast as all the other kids. And one of the other moms in the daycare goes over to Bluey's mom's house and talks to the mom, and the mom was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, pretty much.
Mm.
Why isn't my kid learning as fast as all these other ones? And the poodle shows her a picture of like all of her kids, and she's got 9 kids.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, and the mom was like, "Damn, you must really know what you're doing. Like you've had some experience." And the mom was like, "Yeah, and there's something you need to know." And she's all, "What?" And she's like, "You're doing great." And the
Aw.
mom just starts breaking down in tears. Yeah, so there's sometimes where it's for the parents too, and I think cartoons like that are kick ass. I think we
Mhm.
need more of those cartoons.
Definitely. Just because it's like brings a lot of awareness to and validation to not only
Yeah,
parents but also the kids. Like there's nothing that you're doing that is wrong and there's nothing that your kid is doing that is wrong because of how you're parenting them. It's right. However,
yeah,
it also kind of shows um like what kind of wrong parenting would be.
hmm
Because I know it's out there. I can't think of a singular example right now, but like
explain it, and
um
I might be able to give you one.
okay, where like why do I feel like I've seen this episode before, but I can't place the show that they just saw like a bad family dynamic and they were questioned on like why did they treat them like that, and then they explain like, oh well, it's because you know I don't know. Oh, dang it. Like, not every family's like ours,
hmm
and
Everybody's
things like
different.
that. Yeah, everybody's different. Or like
To
abusive family relationships. I know there
hmm
has to be like a show like that out there that it has went over that topic, but I
You
can't
can't
place it
remember it.
right now. No, cuz I
Yeah.
haven't watched those shows in years.
hmm
So,
Yeah, Tanier said kids really do need more stuff like that, like how to deal with grief. And I
mhm.
agree. A long time ago, Sesame Street did that, where,
I think they
from what I
did.
remember, they did. They did it in the in one of the newer episodes, but also in the really old episodes. Like the episode that I'm remembering, um, Big Bird was going to give one of the human characters that lived on Sesame Street something, and the human characters that were sitting around, um, were like, "He's gone," and Big Bird was like, "Okay, I'll just wait for him here," and they were like, "No, like he's not coming back," and they had to explain to Big Bird, um, like what passing away was. And the whole time Big Bird was just not accepting it. He was like, "How can they be gone?" Like blah blah blah. And they explained it really well. But also in the newer episode, or not only like an episode, but it was more like a clip.
Mm.
Um, Andrew Garfield. Have you seen that one with him and sitting down with Elmo?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they did a little clip on TikTok where Andrew Garfield is sitting next to Elmo and Elmo's asking what's wrong and he's like, "I'm just missing my mom who passed away like recently."
Mhm.
And Elmo is the whole time is like, "Yeah, it's sad, I miss them, blah blah blah." And Andrew Garfield is explaining to Elmo in a kid-friendly way that even though they passed away, it's a gift to
Mhm.
be able to miss someone
Mhm.
that much because that shows how much you really loved that person and all the good memories that you shared.
Yeah.
And I think that's kick ass because some of these kids aren't really told or explained how shit works,
Mhm.
especially at a young age. Because a lot of these kids, grandparents pass away and stuff like that at a young age.
Mhm.
Um, so when it happens, they don't fully understand and they can lash out because they don't fully understand.
Mhm.
So cartoons that explain that kind of stuff, I think is good. I think yeah, I agree with Tanier. Cartoons do need to touch on tough subjects like that too.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's just a part of life and it's better to be prepared for it rather than, you know, not having a understanding or at least a basic understanding when you are a little bit
Yeah.
younger because it could set a basis for how you do like react to that kind of stuff as you get older.
Hmm.
Yeah. Dang, we went from wokeness to some very deep stuff today.
It's not bad though.
It's not bad, definitely not. It's just like a very stark change in topic.
But
I'm
that's
here
why I
for it
said
though.
sometimes not having a topic is good because you end up divulging into totally different stuff anyways.
The thing is that it's also good to have a topic because then it kind of goes on tangents to lead to where we finally are now.
Yeah.
And at least we have like a starting point to where we're like, okay, we can talk about this, and if something else kind of hits our fancy, then we can start talking about that as well from that main
Hmm.
conversation that we were having.
Is anybody in your chat right now?
Um, no, no viewers right now. How many viewers have you had so far?
Let me see. Let me check my analytics.
I've only had 17 so far and 10 likes.
18.
Nice. One new
Yeah.
follower though, so that's nice.
Yeah, new followers kick ass.
Yup. But I also
Well,
think it's because we're just, talking.
no gameplay or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, no gameplay. But it's also maybe our topics that we're talking about
Mm,
don't really resonate
I
with like well, when people come into our streams, they don't really get the full conversation. They only come in where, they
they
come in
only
the
see the
conversation.
topic. They don't know what's like what part of the topic we're on.
Exactly. And then when we start going on tangents, they're like, okay, what does this have to do with wokeness?
Yeah.
Or sometimes that's what people like turns people off of it because if they do believe in like the wokeness to know like no matter what degree, it could turn them off like, oh, they're trying to make fun of. And it's not that we're trying to make fun of it. It's that we're trying to say it's like okay, like
It's okay to have it,
it's okay to have it
but
to a certain degree,
yeah.
and as long as it kind of fits with the story and doesn't impact the story in a negative way. You get
Yeah,
what
because
I'm
there's
meaning?
there's a lot of types of media that get ruined because they make it the sole purpose, the main focus, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like Steven Universe, I think did pretty okay with that. Because yeah, you can
S-
tell the gems are like they're all women and there are some like lesbian relationships in there
Fusion.
and those feelings, yeah, fusion. Ruby and Sapphire, for example, they were like they did get married.
Hmm.
So then there was that marriage in there. But then it
I
just kind of has other
I
things.
just think Steven Universe, like the character himself
Steven.
and some of the other characters, were just generally insufferable.
I felt like Steven in particular, he was
Yeah,
very mm, goody goody. A little too goody
friendship
goody.
no jutsu.
Friendship no jutsu, yeah. Um, it was. I think it was worse in like the beginning seasons, and it wasn't as bad in later seasons. However, Pearl was always one for me. But then I kind of do get to understand why after we find out what happened between Pearl and Rose.
Yeah,
But there's still that kind of disconnect there. And then Greg was kind of just Greg, the I'm the fun dad that
yeah.
didn't really raise my son, but
The gems raised Steven, not Greg.
yeah. And it's like, dude, like he always like came off to me as kind of like a deadbeat dad that just like, oh, I'm gonna be there now that you're grown up,
Yeah.
kind of type.
Although, and I'll probably get hate for this too. There was one episode where Steven gets pissed off at Greg's dad because obviously Steven didn't go to he didn't go to school.
Yeah,
He didn't
because
go
he
to
was raised by
school.
the gems.
Yeah. And Greg had like strict parents and he wasn't allowed to do this and he had to have his
Mm-hmm.
hair like this and he had very very strict shit that he had to
He had
follow.
structure
Yeah. And Steven gets pissed off at Greg and he's like, I didn't get a normal childhood. Like you deprived me of that. Like it's all your fault. I'm the
because there
reason I am the way you.
that is a
And but
human side to him.
yeah, but also Greg tries to explain to him and Steven just doesn't want to hear it. He's like, you're not a regular kid though. You're not normal. Like I know that sounds bad, but you're not a normal kid.
But the thing is, he should have given him the option, or at
Fair.
least tried to give him a semblance of a normal life. He didn't have to just stay with the gems 24/7. Like I get that he was
But
different.
my thing is, what would have happened? Say he, because I mean, we see it in the later episodes. Say for instance, he gives him that option to go to regular people school.
Mhm.
Emotions break out, his powers break out, and he ends up hurting, or worse come to worse, killing somebody.
True. But then there's also like the parenting that comes involved. And I think the gems did do pretty well for the most part on parenting him to the best of their abilities, especially since they've never had to parent before.
Hmm.
And when he did make mistakes, they were there for him and taught him how to right those mistakes. And
Yeah,
Greg really wasn't there for any of that.
yeah,
It was more so for like the fun stuff Greg was there for. There were some like tough things with rose quartz that he was kind of there for Steven about and amethyst, but he was
it's a
more of the
double-edged
kind
sword.
yeah, he was kind of more of the guy that was like it happened and I know that we could be hurting from the pain of her being gone, but we still have each other, right?
Yeah.
And he just doesn't really talk about her. And you can't really just push
Hmm.
away like her memory and like kind of out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. You have to
Yeah.
also kind of embrace that feeling of loss to be able to move forward. not just push
Yeah,
it to the side and be like, I'm not going to acknowledge it.
yeah. Like I said, in that episode, even Greg is like, you wouldn't have liked it. Like, he had to do shit he didn't want to do. He had to follow rules that he didn't like blah blah blah. And Steven's like, you didn't give me that option, which I agree. He didn't get that option. But like I said before, Steven isn't like regular kids. He doesn't get this, and it's not fair. I agree, but he doesn't get the same option as normal kids do.
But the other
He's
thing
not a
is, he's
normal
also going to
kid.
have to live in that world. Like Connie, for example. She went to regular school. She became a swordsman and whatnot, or swordswoman. Um, and because she felt threatened, like after I guess she was in a fight with some other gem before. So when a guy touched her on the shoulder from behind, she
She
threw
like
that guy.
flipped him. Yeah, she flew him.
And then she felt so much regret for that. It's like,
Because it was just such a natural reaction that she doesn't want to do that.
mm-hmm. But the thing is, she's a regular human. She is going to live in that regular human world with all the other humans. And that's always going to be a part of her because her family, her mother's a doctor. I don't know about her dad, but and then she wanted to be a doctor. It's all about like how is he going to fit in with like her role in society when
Yeah,
her trying to fit in his world caused this reaction in her world. If you get what I'm saying there.
yeah, I get it. Like I said, I'm still on the. Also, King is in here.
Oh, hi,
I
King.
think. Um, I'm still on the side of
Rondon, how dare you say I'm boring?
he's not a normal kid.
Like the live
Even as
peas.
a later teenager in the later episodes, I think in the finale,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't know how to like he keeps hurting people and he's gaining new powers because of him. He doesn't know how to regulate his emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So he ends up turning into that giant fucking monster.
Yeah.
Like like I said, imagine a little kid Steven doing shit like that. You think a grown, almost adult can
Resident
barely handle his
sleeper. How
emotion.
dare you?
Imagine child Steven going on a temper tantrum. I think it would have been more of a danger than anything.
Yeah, but then it's also part of the job of teaching him about his powers and kind of letting him know at a young age, like, yeah, you may not be like the other kids, but here are some like coping mechanisms and things. Because he wasn't really given coping mechanisms, because he wasn't really, you know, told a lot of information um, as a kid, even about himself.
Hmm.
He was always compared to his mom, Rose Quartz, who we later find out is Pink Diamond, but
Hmm.
it's just like no one really told him anything. He knew about fusion, but he didn't figure out how to fuse until later on in the show. And it's just like, okay, well, if you sat down, took the time to explain these things, like, yeah, you might not know how things would work for a human gem, but you could at least try and I
Yeah,
guess
yeah. See, I agree.
empathize with the human part of him.
King even agreed with me. Um, Corrupted Steven would have happened way earlier in his life if he had gone to normal school, and it would have been much worse. I agree. Had he been in regular school and been away from the diamonds, shit would have gone way out of hand.
But what caused Monster Steven?
I didn't watch the show, so I'm not.
So what caused Monster Steven was that I think it was he saw the tapes of his mom and all that, and no one was giving him answers about his mom. So he had to go on this big old journey to find out more about his mom. And let me see. Let me actually look at that episode stuff.
Oh, King says no. Uh-oh. King knows.
I don't know
King's a Steven
exactly.
Universe expert.
Yeah,
King's a Steven
yeah.
Universe expert. Hold on. King,
Um,
explain it to us.
info.
I always thought he was just having an identity crisis.
No, he was having some kind of crisis. Let me see.
Well, that part's obvious.
Um. Oh, so when Stephen is confronted by his closest peers, he is prodded for information about his problems, with it being learned that Stephen never told anyone else about a recent visit to the hospital or other events after Stephen admits to everything, including his intentional shattering of Jasper. Oh, he shattered Jasper? When did that happen? And
Yeah.
attempted to start. Oh, this is after he came back from the Diamond home planet. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
he gets into this big old fight with Jasper because
um,
she does not want to like.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, after the intentional shattering of Jasper and attempted destruction of White Diamond to everyone's shock, he finally snaps completely, claiming to no longer be the person he was during the time of the Homeworld gems and openly denouncing himself as a monster before actually turning into one, demolishing the. Okay, so he was kind of having a crisis of where he kind of got rid of his morals of not, hurting a gem
I hurt somebody.
because how he hurt Jasper by shattering her and
Well,
how
yeah,
he
King.
tried to
I,
hurt White Diamond.
yeah, I think it's time to open it up to guests. King wants to join because he says it's too
Okay.
much to type. So
Okay.
let's move over to
Okay.
the party.
Okay. We'll do that. We'll do
All
that.
right, we're moving into the party chat.
Okay, we're in the party chat.
I'm in here.
But
Hello.
so it's because he went against his own morals, basically. So he saw himself as a monster.
All right, here's
And
King.
it's kind of
Lay it down.
been known that.
Hello.
Okay, explain to us Monster Steven.
So it was an identity crisis. It was the culmination of all of the trauma that he had suffered
Mm-hmm.
being Rose's son and like the responsibility of cleaning up all of her fucking messes. And they mentioned it very early on in that little mini arc that he has no idea how like physically traumatized he is, and like they take x-rays because his body's freaking out and like growing in weird ways.
Yeah,
And
doesn't he have like a whole bunch of like fractures that look like they've been healed instantly?
yeah, his entire skeleton is shattered and like forced itself back together instantaneously, and his everything he's feeling now is basically a fight or flight response, and he's treating everything like a life-threatening issue because that's all he's ever experienced.
Fair.
And
Okay.
he goes to Jasper to train with her and like learn how to control these new powers because she was Pink Diamond's soldier. So he's like, okay, let me get away from the people I don't want to hurt and go talk to somebody who can possibly help me like figure out these powers and how to like channel this properly. And she,
Mm-hmm.
probably not in the greatest way, does teach him like, sometimes you just got to get the frustration out, and like she spars with them, and she eventually gets to the point where he comes up to her and he's like, "Hey, I'm ready for a rematch," because she whoops his ass the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay, now it's
then
coming back to me. Yeah.
he goes up to her after like 3 days of intense training and he's like, "Hey, I'm ready for a rematch." And she's like, "All right, cool." And they're fighting, and she like starts berating him for holding back because he's scared, and he pushes her to the ground and he says, "You're right. I have been holding back." And then he hits her with an energy wave and it kills her. And then he freaks out because he killed somebody, heals her, and then dips back to Homeworld to talk with the Diamonds because they have the most history with Pink Diamond. So maybe they can help him figure out his powers. But then he makes the mistake of talking to White Diamond, and he immediately has a trauma response to her presence and tries to kill her. So he goes back to Earth and just freaks out when everyone else is there, and they're like, "Hey, Steven, like, you need to sit down and talk to us. And he's like, no, you can't be around me. I will hurt you. And then he does. He gets confronted by all these feelings. He falls down and he says, I'm a monster. And then he turns into one.
Dang, he pulled a Mark Grayson on freaking Jasper. I thought he could take it. I thought he was
Oh,
stronger.
yeah. Oh, Invincible is such a good show. Side note.
So good.
Oh, it is. It really is.
But yeah, so it was
I
a
think
culmination of
right.
everything that basically turned
Yeah.
Steven. So, like with that being a thing, I don't necessarily think like in the younger years, if he was to grow up like with a semi normal life, we would have had Monster Steven like that early on.
I don't. Maybe not so much Monster Steven, but there would still be some serious fucking shit going on.
That's something like
I
would have happened with him exploring his powers more, definitely. Like let's say there was like a bullying thing happening. There could have been like a Jasper situation that happens unintentionally
Yeah.
with like an energy blast or something because he would have finally like snapped like what happened there and try to stick up for himself. And then he could have actually hurt somebody unintentionally, but
Regardless if it's intentional or unintentional, his powers compared to a regular feeble human would have
exactly.
been fucking drastic.
Exactly.
one of the things that they do throughout the series is that Steven's physical body is reflective of his mental state.
Mhm.
Uh, which is why his monster form was so much of a problem when he finally did transform. Is because he was just so stuck in that mindset of I am a monster that they honestly struggled for a while, like reaching him, and like they couldn't bring him back until they did because of course they have to. Um, and so like with that in mind, lowballing it in best situation in a bullying scenario, he just blasts them with energy. Worst case scenario is he actually starts to believe them that he's a freak and that he's a monster because of course
Oh
there's going to
yeah.
be kids that tell him that,
Yeah.
and then
You
he
have a
turns
diamond in your
into
stomach. You're a
monsters.
fucking weirdo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then he turns into monster Steven, which the reason I say it would be worse isn't just because of the destruction that baby Steven would cause as a uncontrollable monster, but because at that point in his life, he doesn't know Connie, maybe. He definitely doesn't have as close of a relationship with his dad or the gems.
Mm.
So nobody's going to be able to talk him down.
It's
Yeah.
just gonna be a very big fuck off situation. It's gonna be
Yeah, exactly.
next to impossible to fix.
Mm.
Because one of the things that they showed in that fight with Monster Steven was that the more that they fought him, the more they reinforced the fact that he is a monster, and it made him bigger and stronger throughout the fight.
Yeah, didn't the
So
way the
you,
fight end was like they hugged him and like had to console that he wasn't a monster?
yeah, they powered a friendship the fuck out of that ending of the fight,
The power of
which
friendship.
I have my issues with, mostly because I felt like it was,
A cop out.
yeah, because like they set it up so well that's like because what the series does really well, in my opinion, or like the previous movie that had come out with what's her face, the one with the heart gem.
That one. Dang it, what is her name?
Is she a fusion of somebody?
No.
No,
No,
Spinel,
she
Spinel,
was
Spinel.
Spinel. Yeah.
Spinel. The I have the same problem with the end of Monster Stevens fight that I had with Spinel's fight. Of the entire movie
You
sets
can
up
make a difference.
exactly. Like the entire movie sets up like, hey, sometimes talking isn't going to work. Sometimes you have to throw hands. And then
Bruh,
how
she
did
was
they stop
isolated for thousands of years believing that Pink would come back for her. And she
Exactly.
never did. So her hatred of Steven and the other gems was
I think it's
so
justified.
valid. Very
Oh,
justified.
absolutely. But then
And
how did they beat her? He talked to her.
it's
It's like,
so
hold on, you
BS.
just 2 minutes. Like, and what made it worse was that the time frame from you can't talk to her and oh, talking to her did work is only 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it's just 2 minutes of movie time. And then they did the same thing in the in Steven Universe Future or whatever they called that mini arc
Mm-hmm.
of like, sometimes you can't talk out your feelings and have it be productive. Sometimes you need to find other outlets for your emotions. And then how did they stop him? They hugged him and told him he was loved and he
Yup.
stopped. And it's like I get it. Steven deserved a hug. He really did. My poor boy.
Yeah.
But I would have liked it more if Steven burned himself out, and granted, I don't exactly know how they would have handled that on Earth safely. But like they have teleport options, and god damn it, the diamonds showed up to that fight in their giant mech. Just blast him off into space. He'll be fine and he can't
Yeah.
hurt anything. Let him burn himself out until he's like tired enough to be like, all
I
right,
also think
maybe
I
now
also think
talking will help him.
maybe the whole talking him down in every bad situation, whether it be in the movies or TV show, I think that like enforces the bad coping mechanism of everything can be solved by just talking it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely
And
not
then
something
Steven
that'll
runs
work on
away
him.
from it all. Uh and because I remember being really mad when the Jasper episode came out because everyone was complaining that Jasper was teaching him toxic coping mechanisms, and I remember thinking it shouldn't be considered a toxic uh, coping mechanism to punch a punching bag when
Yeah,
you're angry.
If
Like, why
anything,
is
that's a
that
good one
bad?
instead of lashing out
because
at
Exactly.
people.
you're lashing out on something that like physically you cannot hurt, emotionally or physically. You know what I mean by physically,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
a safer way of lashing out physically.
Yeah. That's
And
why
Um,
like,
people get into like combat sports.
Not
It's a
even
way
that, but
to kind of like, yeah, there's
rage
that
rooms have
too.
been proven to be a fucking fantastic like therapy outlet.
Mhm.
If you don't want to
exactly.
talk, you just let out all your fucking frustration
Because
with a
some
bat and
people
breakable objects.
like how they cope is they don't want to talk. There's people who get even more angry if you poke them to
Try
talk,
to talk
just
to
like
them.
what happened with Monster Steven in the first place. People were trying to talk to him, and he's like, no, 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 don't get away from me. I don't want to talk about this. Sometimes you just have to give someone their space and letting them have that outlet to just like, rage a bit on their own can be good.
Hmm.
Like even outside of that, like there were arguments being made of like, oh, look how destructive he's being because like he's breaking boulders and like chopping down trees with his bare hands because he's powerful as shit. And it's like, okay, well, he also has energy blasts. If you really want to get that technical about it, just let him shoot a Kamehameha into the sky until he feels better. He'll be fine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if you're worried about the destruction he's causing to the planet, which, again, fair argument, I guess, because of how powerful and dangerous he actually is, let him blast the sky for a little bit.
Mhm.
I don't understand why these, like,
Yeah. Take him to some,
effect.
remote place in space via the portal and just let him go
Exactly.
fucking nuts for a couple minutes.
Mhm.
And like, if you don't want it to be a situation where it's like, oh, he's like in the forest and blasting off stuff into the sky and scaring people in town, you have like 10 different portals, not even to space, but to remote locations on the planet that are completely uninhabited. Like, don't have anyone around.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
we've seen you go to the desert with this teleportation device. Send him to fucking send him to the middle of the savannah and let him just Kamehameha the fucking horizon for a
Yeah.
little while.
Not to mention Pink's fucking like world that he goes to through Lion's Mane.
Mhm.
Exactly.
That's just like I don't know exactly how that works, but isn't it just like a dimension in itself?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. So technically, it's a dimension, but it'd be more accurate to say that it's just separated from space and time because there's technically nothing there.
Yeah, it's his own. It's kind of an oxymoron to put it this way. It's his own endless, never-ending bubble.
Exactly.
Mhm.
There's nothing there that he could possibly hurt if he really wanted to. In that
The other
space
thing is he
too,
can't
can't.
breathe in there.
Yeah. What about
That's true.
Rose's room?
Rose's room he can.
Rose's
Mm,
room, he could breathe, and he can also imagine anything he wants.
true.
Couldn't he like just take it? Like I know it, like you said, it's not necessarily a toxic mechanism, but say for instance, he's really pissed off at Jasper to the point where he wants to hurt her, but he doesn't want to hurt her. Come up with a fake Jasper in that room,
I would
beat the
love
fuck
to
out of
have
her.
my own rage room where instead of breaking TVs, I just get to manifest people I really want to punch in the face.
Dang.
Exactly.
Just like,
I think that would solve a lot
yeah,
of the world's problems.
exactly.
But yeah,
I
there was
just
definitely options out there that they did not explore that they should have.
and like to a degree, I'm willing to be lenient on it in like the aspect of like you because there were a lot of talks about like Cartoon Network interfering with a lot of the pacing, but also like Rebecca Sugar herself just seems to firmly believe that as long as you can talk something out, then it doesn't matter what's going on, you can fix it.
That's a
And
bad thing.
Mhm.
and it's like I understand wanting to teach kids that sometimes you just need to talk out your problems because it's a very valid and very useful skill to have, but also sometimes you just gotta punch the punching bag.
Yeah. Sometimes you're literally just talking to a brick wall and it's not going to get you anywhere. No matter how many times you yell and scream and softly talk to this brick wall, it's still going to be a brick wall.
Yeah.
I actually just realized this, and I think that this would have been a much better way to solve corrupted Stephen. So in God damn it, what was her name again?
Spinel?
Spinel. I used to remember all the characters' names so well, and it's been so many years. But in the movie where they're fighting with Spinel and they can't talk to her because she's just that fucking gone, the the reason why talking to her eventually works is because Steven puts up his bubble. She can't physically hurt him anymore. So she eventually burns herself out punching the bubble and like comes to the realization because she finally looks down at him and says, "What's wrong with me? I just wanted a friend." And
Mm-hmm.
then Steven talks to her again and like gets through to her, and then he takes her to the diamonds because they'll appreciate her because she's a reminder of Pink, which valid. Um, they should have done that with Monster Steven. They should have put up a wall, let him beat on it for a while until he exhausted himself and just goes, "What the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I up to?" And like have because like especially since in the original series they showed that technically Steven has two personalities. There's the human personality, and then there's the actual gem personality. And the gem is like emotionless as hell and
Yeah.
Yeah.
is just. And so, like, you could have had that moment of like Steven in this monster state just slamming on something and cut to him in his inner world, and he's just being like smashed in by his own like diamond persona and then has to come to the acknowledgement of yeah, no, fuck you. And like, I don't know, there are so many better ways that they could have done it. And I think that it would have been a much better message because like the whole thing was Steven needed to relearn self-love.
Hmm.
And you could have easily have done that with him talking to his diamond half and coming to that realization himself. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's wrong with me? What am I doing? This is why am I doing this? And then like have him confront himself about his own feelings. And then you can still kind of have that like
He cut out. Was that me?
Yeah, that was you.
huh?
Was it me? Oh.
Hmm. No, you're good, King.
Okay. Because I was just wrapped up the thought. I had
No,
nothing
no,
else
you're
to
good.
Yeah.
continue with. Me and my ramblings.
No, it's okay. You make good points.
Yep. Very good points.
I always
Oh man.
struggle with letting my nerd side show with new people. Like I know it's okay, but my social anxiety is still pain in the ass.
Me and Necrony are also nerds though, so you really are okay.
Yeah.
I know.
I will say
I was
though.
not expecting a Steven Universe conversation tonight at all. I popped into the I popped into the stream
Yeah,
and
I
I
wasn't
heard
expecting it
Greg and
either.
Steven and I was like, Steven Universe.
Well, I think that's all from me. I think it's time for bed now.
Oh, okay.
Weirdo.
Don't call me weirdo. How dare you? Okie dokie. Well, I don't know. Are you gonna continue streaming, Wendigo?
Yeah. If not this, I'll probably just stream some video games.
Alrighty. Well, I think that's the end of this episode of Cryptid Conversations. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think it's a good point to leave off of. We really do need to make a list of just topics so that way we have something to fall back on.
Yeah.
It's not just spur of the moment.
Yeah. A little bit more structured. Okay. Well, then I think we're streaming tomorrow, right?
What happened?
Tomorrow stream.
Yeah, we can do stream tomorrow. What do you want tomorrow to be though? Do you want to do another
Mm,
podcast or do you want to do video game?
mm, I could do video game, and it'll give us a little bit more time to think of podcast like topics.
Okay.
All right, see y'all tomorrow, and we're gonna be playing just
Yeah.
some games.
Good
All
night.
right, bye, good
Sleep well.
night. You too, bye.
All right.